This episode of I Am Salt Lake Podcast is proudly sponsored by Jed's Barbershop. With 3 locations, you have no reason to not always look your best. Go get a haircut, a beard trim, or even a straight razor shave. Jed's Barbershop is open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday, 9 to 7, and Sunday, 12 to 5. Their newest location is located at 167 East, 900 South, right next to Randy's Records. They also have a location downtown at 212 South, 700 East, and up in Sugar House at 2153 East, 2100 South. No appointment is necessary. Just show up, get yourself a haircut. Maybe you have a last-minute date or a job interview. Jed's Barbershop is the place for you. Head on over to their website at jedsbarbershop.com for more information.
Showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake Podcast.
Hey, before we jump into today's episode, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Hopefully you've enjoyed some family time and catching up. I know sometimes our lives get so busy that we don't have time to spend with the people that matter to us. So hopefully you've enjoyed some time with your family. As I know, this episode is coming out. It's being released Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. And so I want to thank you for kind of taking some time out of that to listen to this episode. Got a great episode here today. Hey, but let's welcome everybody out today to episode 309 of I Am Salt Lake Podcast. My name's Chris Hollifield.
And I'm Chrissy Hollifield.
Today on the podcast, we get to sit down and have an amazing conversation with Baya Voce. Baya has a heck of a story, and I know we only get into a fraction of it in this conversation. She is a personal and professional development coach. She's the founder of Secret SLC, which we're going to get into. And she's also been on a reality TV show, Real World.
She's kind of done it all.
She has. And it was funny because she was like on a hike or something that day too. Before
I know, she had just come from rock climbing, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how she finds all the time in the day. She had
it's awesome.
She did a segment on like Channel 4 as well.
Yeah.
We're going to get into all of that here in just a second. But do you have an event coming up that you need a photographer? Are you a local business? You need pictures for your products? Maybe you're a comedian and you need headshots or personal shots. I don't know, family photos, whatever that is. We want to invite you to check out the work of local Salt Lake City photographer, Amanda DeWolf. You could check out her work, get in touch with her, and order prints directly on her website, amandakmemories.com. Again, it's Amanda K-A-Y, memories.com. All right, let's jump into that conversation that we had with Baya Voce when she came over to our office, shared her story. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy. Where'd you grow up, Baya? Did you grow up here in Utah?
Yeah, for the most part, grew up here. Wasn't born here, but grew up here, moved away as soon as I could when I was 18.
Like most of us do when we were like, I'm sick of Utah.
Yeah, get me out of here.
Where'd you move to when you were 18?
I started in Hawaii and then moved to Northern California and then Brooklyn and Manhattan and Aspen and then back. And I knew when I came back, I was so certain I was back. I was going to finish up school and then I was out. And I haven't left. So,
did you finish up school though?
Yeah.
Okay, so you finished up
that part.
And stayed. We have a great way of drawing people here and just keeping them. Yes. We have like a gigantic people magnet somewhere.
Didn't you go to school in Hawaii too, right?
Yeah.
And then, where were you born then?
So I was born in Boulder, Colorado. My dad went to this Buddhist liberal arts school in Boulder called Naropa. He was getting his master's degree. His degree was in the Jack Kerouac's School of Disembodied Poets.
Isn't that the guy who does the juicer?
No,
Jack Kerouac's the author.
Beatnik.
I totally meant that. I've heard of Jack Kerouac, and I know there's Jack's Juicer, and I thought maybe he did both.
Gosh, what's that guy's name with the big eyebrows?
Yeah, with the awesome juicer.
Yeah, Jim Carrey.
I was close, you guys.
Did you guys ever watch In Living Color back in the day? With Jim Carrey.
No.
Jim Carrey did
some
spoofs of that guy, And
he's fun to watch. He makes
was
a good
putting
infomercial.
Dirt and stuff in the juicer. Oh
Yeah. Yeah. Did you guys see the new Jim Carrey documentary?
I haven't yet.
Seen it?
Jim and Andy. Yes.
Have you seen it?
I've heard it's fantastic.
Yes, it's so good. It's just like Jim just like comes at you with these nuggets of wisdom where you're like, damn, did you just drop that? Like,
It's so weird to see him, like, I quote unquote grown up. Have you seen his art? I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent.
No, this is great.
He paints now. He just spends a lot of time painting.
oh, interesting.
And it's really good.
Yeah, it was
It's
like a
crazy.
little 10-minute video that was floating around Facebook a few months back.
I didn't see it. That's fascinating. Anyway, it's
so
a
interesting.
great film.
But Jack Kerouac,
Well, yeah, anyway, my dad's like a beatnik, hippie, whatever. And so I was born in Boulder, Colorado, moved to like rural middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, and then moved here when my dad got a job at the university.
So you grew up in a pretty liberal home, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, that kind of explains, you've done a ton of stuff doing a little research on you. I mean, from being on the Real World to what you do now with like counseling, coaching,
Yeah.
I guess relationship coaching. Where should we start with her, Chrissy?
Oh my gosh,
I mean, there's
I
so
don't
much.
even know.
Well, what did you want to be when you were a kid? Growing up, I'm sure that you didn't have an idea to be a coach.
No, well, I didn't have an idea. I was definitely not one of those people who knew what they wanted to be when they grew up. I never have been. In fact, I've switched careers about umpteen million times. I mean, I lived in New York and I was a DJ.
oh wow, how did that go?
Like a
Did you
DJ
enjoy
for
it?
house parties or a radio DJ? What kind of DJ
No,
were you?
like a club DJ.
Like a rave club?
Yeah, like straight
That
up
is-
traveled around.
Wow.
DJing, wore a gold unitard. Yeah, it was like all up in the scene. Yeah. So I have been, and like
Do you ever miss it?
simultaneously. Funny you should say that. No, because listen, I go to bed at 10 p.m. and I was going to bed at 4 a.m. So like,
Yeah.
I'm much more of a no.
Well, I think we all were that way, right? When we were younger.
When we were younger,
Yeah,
we had the
yeah.
energy to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're a bit
you
more
get me to
realistic.
bed early. I used to, before I met Chrissy, I was going to bed at like 2 a.m. Now she's getting me to bed by at least 11.
Good for you.
Well, I realized he hasn't been sleeping his whole life. So
I don't like to
Got some
sleep. I
years to
really,
catch up
I
on.
hate sleeping. I hate sleeping with
Really?
a passion.
Why?
I feel it is not even the whole fear of missing out thing.
What is it?
It's boring to me. You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of one of those things that I just feel is a waste of time. Like I could be doing so much other
and
things.
that's accurate.
You know, like I really get it. Like when my alarm goes off in the morning, I get excited to get up and I'm just like, all right, let's go.
Wow. Do people meet you and they're like, fuck you, man?
No,
Like,
and I don't. It's not that I have a ton of energy even in the morning. I'm
okay. So you're not one of
I'm not a
those.
morning
Okay,
person.
got
When
it.
I moved
Some
in with you,
mornings I am.
he was getting up at the ass crack of dawn and walking around the apartment singing, making juice, bringing me juice in bed. He's
I
a
don't
morning
know. Anyway,
person.
yeah. So
Okay, getting
just not a fan
distracted.
of sleeping. No, it's fine. It's fine. So you go to bed early now. You're an old lady.
Yeah, straight up old lady. Yeah, like if I don't have to be out, I am not out. But yeah, so I never have known what I wanted to do. I've done so many different vocations, and so
Did you say what you went to school for? What did you go to school?
I went to school for film, but I initially started to go to school because I wanted to be a backup dancer. I was a hip hop dancer in college.
Whoa.
I was like the one white girl in this all black hip hop dance team, and I was like, I know what I'm going to be. I'm going to be Snoop Dogg's backup dancer. Like that's what I want to be when I grow up.
And you actually started college with that goal?
Yeah.
How have you done? You're not that old. How have you done so much?
I change my mind a lot. And in fact, I used to always I always have felt like it's been something, like I've always questioned, is it my inability to commit? Like I've always looked at it as something that's wrong with me. In fact, I had one boyfriend.
What do you think it is?
I to be honest, I don't have an answer. I think I like a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think some of us are more wired to do different things. I mean, I've been so envious of people my whole life who have been like, yeah, when I was in elementary school, I wanted to be a doctor. And here I am. I'm a doctor now. I'm like, what?
Nah, anyone can do that. That's the thing. Anyone can follow along a straight line. Not a lot of people can do what you do.
Well, no, I don't know.
But let me ask you, the person that's a doctor, no offense to doctor listeners, they tend to be a more boring person. If you think about it, if they their whole life they wanted to be a doctor and then they walk this straight line.
Okay,
boom, boom,
Or
boom,
they
boom.
never explore to see if they have any other interests.
Yeah.
See, but so I agree with that, right? Like I can get that thought process, but for me, I've always felt like those people were more dedicated, more hardworking. I always referenced those people as people who were more committed than I was able to be. So I always felt like I would do the next thing and I would feel embarrassed or ashamed, like, why couldn't I just stick with that thing? And so I've always felt a little bit like, oh no, I'm going to do this other thing. And then like, I've already, so.
Were you afraid of what other people would think, or was it more what you thought of yourself?
Oh, both. But my whole life has been about what other people think. 100%. It's been like, I have this whole thing around needing to be liked. And part of it is growing up in Salt Lake, right? Like I moved here when I was 5 from, like this running around naked playing with tadpoles, right, to conservative Salt Lake, where I wasn't Mormon. I wasn't allowed to play with the Mormons. And so my coping mechanisms for being super, super lonely was I'm going to figure out how to be popular and well liked. And I didn't have words for that at the time, but like, starting in junior high, that's what I ran for student government. I wanted to be liked and included and popular.
You wanted to be there. You wanted to be in the know.
Yes, totally. And it was my coping mechanism. It was like, this is the only way I know how to survive. And so as I started going from thing to thing and looking at people building out their careers and like gaining all this notoriety from doing one thing for a while and like really making these big steps in their careers. And then I kept going in all these different directions. It was like, why can't I choose? Like, why can't I always made myself wrong for it.
This is so random, but have you ever read the book Strengths Finder?
Oh, yeah.
Have you taken the test?
Yes.
So have you found out what your 5, is it 5 top strengths?
It is 5. And one of mine is woo. To be honest, I don't remember.
It's hard to remember.
Yeah, but I know one's woo, one's like, what focus is my number one.
I have the book here if we want to look at it. I'm kidding.
I was like,
damn,
where is it?
I want to read it.
No. Anyway.
Actually, we did buy it.
Yeah.
No,
Anyway.
smart.
Yeah. But I mean, it seems like I would be fascinated to know what your strengths are.
But you're successful at things though. That's the thing, is you're not a non-successful person. You do all kinds of stuff, which we'll get into here shortly.
It seems like you excel at everything.
I'm intrigued though. You mentioned, for some reason, I thought you grew up Mormon. You didn't grow up Mormon. And what brought you to Utah then?
My dad got a job at the U.
Okay. I'm not saying everybody in Utah needs to be Mormon, but especially you moved here at 5 years old.
Yeah, my dad got a job at the U.
So, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, it is really hard to be an outsider moving to the conservative areas here. Probably not so much right now, but especially back then when you're such an outsider, you weren't allowed to play with the other kids.
Yeah.
Like it's an interesting... I'm glad we're moving away from that. I feel that we're moving away from that a little bit.
I totally agree. We have
in Utah,
transplants.
you mean?
Yeah, in Utah.
Oh, yeah.
So many
Utah,
transplants moving in.
Well, now it's a normal thing, but 10, 15, 20 years ago?
No one ever moved here.
I mean, that was everybody was of the same faith.
Total. And when we moved here, I think there was one coffee shop, maybe. Like it was it was small Lake
drastic
City.
change.
Yeah.
It's still small Lake City.
Yeah, totally. But anyway.
But then,
that's why I couldn't wait to get out. That's why like I could. I went to the furthest place I could possibly think of to college. Right, I went to Hawaii.
Yeah. How was that? Perfect.
Amazing. It was like for the first time, I was like, oh my God, like I could do all the things. I could like smoke weed and not have to worry about everybody judging me, because all I cared about was what other people thought. So like I kind of put on the Mormon face in high school. Like I kind of did the like dated the Mormon boys, sent them off on missions, was part of the like Mormon popular group, but not fully, because I wasn't.
You were the one they were always trying to convert.
Oh, I have some weird conversion stories, but I was always like on the outside, almost in, but not quite able to be in. So anyway, I have some weird stuff around that.
When did the real world come in?
When I was 20 years old. So I had moved away. Funny enough, when I was in junior high, I remember telling people I'm going to be on the real world. Like I remember having this conversation with people, and I would have people give me their yearbooks and sign their autographs. And maybe I didn't say real world. Maybe I just said like famous or whatever. So
or road. What was the other
one? Road rules.
Real world.
Yeah.
I'll try to say that 5 times
fast.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was living in Northern California at the time, knowing I was going to be a hip hop dancer. Moved back to Salt Lake for a few months to work at a restaurant and save money to move to New York City. That was my plan, to go, because that's where this one hip hop dance conservatory is, the only one in the US. And I was going to go and I was going to audition and I was going to live in New York. That was my plan. Meanwhile, real world auditions came into town. So I go to the auditions and I make it past the first round and then I make it past the second round. And meanwhile, I'm thinking like, how do I keep making it? Like, and then I make it past the third round and then they're flying me out to LA and I'm like, me? Like, this is so strange. And in fact, I remember one of the producers it was semifinals, and one of the producers, I was in LA and he was like, we had sent out a video. And he was like, what makes you think, I was 20 years old. He's like, what makes you think your video was different than any other 20-year-old's video? Like, you're the exact same as any other 20-year-old. Because I had like a video partying and whatever. And I remember thinking, all right, well, that's it. Like, blew it. Cool. There's my chance. And then I got called back for finals. And the whole time I was just like totally bewildered. Like, why me? Come to find out, I make it, and they don't tell you where they're filming.
Oh.
And they're like, guess what? Oh, so this whole time in my interviews, I'm saying, I'm going to move to New York City to dance. But, wherever you film, like, rural Ohio, I'll go. I don't care about my dreams to dance. Like, all I want to do is be popular, right? I'm sure is what's going on in my head.
You were thinking being on The Real World would make you popular.
Oh, yeah. Like, it was, again, this like coping mechanism. How can if I can be more popular, then I'll be less lonely. Then I'll feel more connected. Then I'll feel fulfilled. All of those things, like, I've just got to be more popular.
Yeah. You'll have deeper relationships and more relationships the more people know you.
The more people who know me, like, then I can somehow, because my self-worth came from outside validation.
Right.
And I didn't have the words for this.
Well, most of us do. I mean, that really is the way that we all start out in life, don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, and I think we all have different coping mechanisms, right? Like some people, we deal with it differently. For me, it was I needed to be seen and validated.
I think that's like a lot of younger kids, that's pretty common. I think the whole wanting to be friends and be popular, though.
Yeah.
Like when they get, 200 likes on Musical.ly.
Yeah. Like, how many friends do you have?
I'm big.
I went through it on MySpace, you know what I mean? How many friends on MySpace do you have? Oh, wow. Who's in your top 8?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My
like
God,
that was.
I was never.
Did you never do MySpace?
No,
you didn't?
Not really.
What?
Whoa.
I wasn't.
She was married and had started having kids at 20 years old.
I didn't do the whole life thing. Like, I didn't have a life ever. So
what?
There was
Don't
that.
Say that.
Oh no, it's very true.
It's very true.
It's very true.
It's very true.
Trust me, I worked and popped out babies, and that was it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've talked to her. Yeah, trust me.
So anyway,
that's okay,
that's an issue for another day. Yeah. But and then, so how did you get on?
Yeah, what were the auditions like? What would you do in these? Like, just send them videos?
I sent them videos. To be honest, I basically played up every dramatic part of myself. I just amplified to the extreme. So for instance, this is so embarrassing. Oh my God.
Do you think it was because you were from Utah?
Yeah, yes. So it turns out that it was the year that Obama was elected. So it turns out they chose us based on our politics. So we had 2 people from Utah, 1 conservative Mormon, 1 liberal hippie, me. We had the first transgendered person on a TV show. We had a gay person. We had a bi person. We had a military veteran, and then like kind of the dumb jock. And like we had a couple other people, right? But so anyway, everyone was either doing something in New York City, so they were trying to make a name for themselves in New York, or it was something that had to do with politics. And they brought us together. And this, you don't know this as you're auditioning, but looking back, it made perfect sense that, right, I was moving to New York to do this thing, to pursue this dream of being a dancer. So yeah. Anyway, wow. And so the auditions, I just basically amplified all the most dramatic versions of myself. Like, I'm a playa. My nickname is Baya, the 801 playa.
that was for real. That was what you said. That's kind of amazing. Thing was. Wow.
Yeah, like I have a boyfriend, but he doesn't know I have like 3 other boys on the side.
Can we see your audition tape?
Yeah, and it's mortifying.
Do you really still have it?
No, I don't have it. It's online. It's
online?
Mortifying.
Oh, for real? Like on YouTube?
Man.
I don't know where it might be on the MTV site. I'm sure I'm not even going to tell you what you should Google.
No, there's some stuff online. Yeah, like he Googled my name once and I was like,
when we first started dating, I'm like, all right, I'm going to do some Google stuff.
Yeah, as you should.
Whoa, what's this girl doing?
Okay.
Oh, that's amazing.
Bad audition tapes is basically where.
Yeah, bad commercial tapes. So everybody go Google.
Bad. Please don't.
Chrissy. No, with a K. No, just kidding. Anyway, we're here for Baya. So how long does the real world go on? How many weeks were you?
3 or 4 months.
So you were living out in Brooklyn, New York, for 3 or 4 months. Do they pay for everything? I mean,
no.
You have to get a job.
They give you a stipend. I think it was like $250 a week or something. No, and you're not allowed to have a job that's more than 10 hours a week. So really, like, it's
basically a full-time
reality
job.
TV is mostly fake.
So interestingly enough, actually, yes, a lot of reality TV is scripted. Real World was one of the only shows that's not scripted, but they do some stuff in editing as far as like timeline goes and all of that. So no, we were never, I always get asked like, did they make you drink? Did they make you drink? Did they like cause fights and whatever? It's like, no, the drama's real, but also you act different on camera. Like
Sure.
it's
Right.
when there's a camera in your face,
You have to do something to keep the camera on you. Yeah.
exactly. So
makes sense.
you are amplified. Like you're the version of you. It might be you, but you also. I mean, I was conscious to the fact there was a camera following me around.
How could you forget?
So how did you feel like when you got finished up? Did people recognize you from the real world?
Yeah, for a little while.
Does anybody today recognize you from the real world?
So funny. I have had people come up to me. I actually think this has happened twice where somebody comes up to me and is like, you know exactly who you look like? This girl Baya from the real world.
Have you ever just run with it and be like, that's so crazy.
Yeah,
I have
totally.
a doppelganger.
Yeah.
Really?
Isn't that funny?
Still to this day.
I mean,
awesome.
no, I get another funny story. I was at the dentist and somebody recognized me because of my gap. They were like, your gap looks so familiar. Oh my God. And it was like, whoa, your name. So no, I don't get recognized. You know what I get still is you look so familiar. Did we go to college together or something like that? And I've never seen this person in my life. And I'm like, oh, maybe. But here's the thing. I was 20 years old. Most people our age did not watch that show. It's like a bunch of 12 and 14 and 16-year-olds, who watch
I got into it for a minute, but I wasn't like religious about it.
Yeah, and
it
it was probably like way before I went
this
on.
up, but I had a friend who was on The Real World.
Who?
And she was at BYU.
Was it
Julie
the same
Stouffer? I think it
season?
was a different year. So she was the first
Everybody
BYU
from Utah
student
always
to go on
gets
The Real
picked.
World, and she got kicked out of BYU for it and everything.
Well, we had Jackson Carter. He was on the Biggest Loser. It seems like he's a radio
Interesting.
DJ over at Mix 105.
Oh, no
We had
kidding.
him on the podcast
People
a few
really
months
like
ago.
to come to
and
Utah
people
to find-
love Utah for the reality shows.
Yeah. I feel like every season on The Bachelor, there's somebody from the Utah.
There's lots of people in Utah who
Yeah.
would probably enjoy it. That's all I'm going to say. This is not going to go anywhere good. Let's move on.
Would you do it again? Would you do a reality show again?
Yeah, I probably would.
Same subject?
So you really enjoed it.
No, I
Oh.
didn't. I actually had a really hard time with it. But here's why I would do it again. Because I just cared so much what people thought that I was super filtered. I was super like on my best behavior because I was scared of what people would say and what people would think. And now I just don't give a shit. And to be honest, that hasn't this has been like the past year where I've just been like, whoa, I'm actually going to be way more me than I've ever been because I've always been really, I mean, this has been a big journey of mine is like figuring out how to not care what people think. And I'm still dealing with it, but I'm way more myself than I have ever been now.
Such a huge transition, and it's so life-changing when you finally kind of figure out that you don't need that from people.
Totally. And I'm still figuring it out, but way more. So I would do something like that again now because I feel like I am way more me.
Let's take a quick break. We have to,
All right.
have to play a message here from our sponsor. And then when we come back, boom, there's a lot more we got to talk about. So,
Boom.
So hang tight. This episode of I Am Salt Lake Podcast is proudly sponsored by Jed's Barbershop. With 3 locations, you have no reason to not always look your best. Go get a haircut, a beard trim, or even a straight razor shave. Jed's Barbershop is open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday, 9 to 7, and Sunday, 12 to 5. Their newest location is located at 167 East, 900 South, right next to Randy's Records. They also have a location downtown at 212 South, 700 East, and up in Sugar House at 2153 East, 2100 South. No appointment is necessary. Just show up, get yourself a haircut. Maybe you have a last-minute date or a job interview. Jed's Barbershop is the place for you. Head on over to their website at jedsbarbershop.com for more information. Let's talk about Art of Connection.
Yeah.
Right? It's on Good Things Utah. What is that, Channel 4?
Yeah, was.
It was. So you don't do this anymore?
No, we did it for a season. And then, and now I have some other ideas in the works.
Nothing you could talk about?
Well, no, not, I don't know.
So, well, we don't need to get into that. Yeah. Art of Connection, it's the, all the episodes are on your website.
Yeah,
so
we did a season.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because it was in between the time, like during that whole thing, it was like I entered into a relationship, I got engaged, engagement got broken off. And so it's like kind of this whole evolution in that show, which is interesting.
That is, I actually saw the episode where you talked about meditation and how it helped you get through that time in your life. Do you still meditate? Or
yeah. I rely on it heavily.
You talked about wanting to learn how to meditate,
well,
Chrissy.
I've wanted to forever, but I have a monkey brain, like ADD monkey brain.
But I think that's why
hard.
I know, and I think that's same.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I rely on it so much, because if I don't start my day with at least 10 minutes, I'm just like,
You notice that big a difference?
Yeah, I do. I also, my moods shift, and so for me, it actually helps stabilize my moods. I don't know, it
kind of just puts you in a good place.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
sets me up.
Where would you recommend somebody who's never meditated, such as Chrissy or myself? How would we start?
Funny you should say that. I have a 7-day meditation challenge on my website.
Okay, so go check it out. It's bayavoce.com, which we'll put that link again, iamsaltlake.com with the website or with the show notes for this episode. But so somebody would go there. What exactly the 7-day challenge?
So it's various meditations that you can do on all different subjects. And so they're guided. And so it makes it really easy for somebody, because literally all you have to do is sit down and give yourself 10 minutes, and then they're guided. So you don't have to think about I have to turn my mind off for 10 minutes. It's like, no, don't even think about that. Just give yourself 10 minutes. I'll take care of the rest.
Do you teach classes later after that 7 days?
No, I don't. I did a 30-day meditation challenge because, I'm not the meditation guru by any stretch of the imagination, but I went through this really hard breakup, and I was basically on my knees with grief, had no idea. I just felt like I couldn't do it by myself. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. And so I started meditating for whatever reason. And I was 30 days into a meditation. I started hearing this voice. She called herself Sheila. And I was like, you're my homegirl. And I just she was like, you should do a meditation challenge. And I was like, boom, I'm doing a meditation challenge. Did a 30-day meditation challenge. I pulled it out of my ass. I had no idea what I was doing. It went phenomenally. And then I was like, cool, I'm going to post a 7-day meditation challenge that everyone can sign up for. And there you have it. So I'm not the meditation person. I just know it's.
So you just have the challenge. You don't do anything else with it. It's just kind of something on your website.
Yeah, it's been really helpful for me. And I feel like if it can be helpful for other people, then awesome.
Who is a meditation guru? Are there people in Salt Lake that are?
Yes. The Zen Center, Diane Hamilton, is amazing.
Okay.
If you haven't interviewed her yet, she's phenomenal.
No, and I haven't. And I mean, we're always looking for people to bring on.
Maybe we could just have her on and we could all meditate for an hour.
Yes. Have her do
silent
have
episode.
A walk.
Yeah. Have her do something.
Actually, that's a good idea.
Huh.
How long have you been doing personal and professional coaching? Was that before the?
I started after the Real World because I got So I started after the Real World because I got really interested in why why, like, for instance, why did I just do this thing? Like, why did I just go on this show?
Yeah.
Like, clearly, if I wanted to have 7 random roommates, I would have gotten on Craigslist, right? Like, it was something bigger was driving me.
Yeah.
For me, it was my whole, like, fear, like the validation thing and needing to be popular and blah, blah, blah. So I started doing a lot of self-work, moved back to Salt Lake years later, and then started my first dating company here. And so I would host singles mixers and speed dating events. And then from there, I started matchmaking. And what would happen is I would get a guy and he would come back and he would be like, oh, that was the best date. I'm so into her. I can't wait for date number 2. And the woman would come back and she would be like, hell no, am I ever going to see that guy again? And I was like, where is the disconnect? So basically, I started being like the female Hitch, where I would take these guys and I would be their wingman and I would be like, listen, homie, I'll set you up, but not without me coaching you first. So I would coach them. I would go out with them. I would be their wingman. And they would be on a date. I would be sitting next to them.
Did the girl know?
No.
What? When I got divorced when I was 35, I could have used you.
Yeah.
Because it was hard. It was hard.
It's hard. It totally is.
Dating
and like,
sucks.
I have such a soft spot in my heart for people who are struggling with dating because it's not that intuitive. And so, and it is a skill. I look at it as a skill set. And so, yeah, like I would have guys record their dates and I would go back and listen to them and tell them where they fucked up or whatever. And anyway, and that kind of started this trajectory into speaking and going on Good Things Utah and hosting workshops and traveling, doing it. And then, and then it all, then TEDx.
What even
and blah,
got you
blah, blah.
interested in that, though? Back to the real world.
Yeah, I mean,
Dating
it started
and all of that.
it started with self-development. It started with like, why do we do the things that we do? That's really where it started. It started with my own personal crisis. It started with like being at rock bottom, whatever.
You just
and
went
then
introspective and then figured out how to bring it to everyone else.
Well, then I moved back to Salt Lake. I was 24 at the time or so. I moved back to Salt Lake and I was like, wow, it's hard to date here. Everybody's already married and I'm 24 and single. So how the hell am I supposed to meet anybody? And so I basically started doing the singles mixers and speed dating events selfishly. And then I was like, this is a business model. I'm going to do this. And then like fell flat on my face doing that. That did not
But were
work.
guys intimidated to date you because you were doing? I would have been.
Yeah.
I would have been like, holy cow, she's an expert. She knows what she's doing. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think I probably still on some level deal with that. I may not even know it because that's what I do, right? Like
Sure.
if people, I'm like, yeah, I was a men's dating coach. I'm a men's dating coach.
Do you tell guys that now? Well, I mean, I guess I
If
don't
they
know if you're
don't
dating
know,
now. Yeah, but you talk.
I'm ish. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, we don't need to get into that on the podcast.
You probably don't
we
want
can.
them to think you're analyzing them the whole time, even though you might be analyzing
Yeah,
them
but I
the whole
really
time.
try not, like, it's not,
Yeah.
that's not my MO to like
There's
go
a difference between coaching someone and helping them and genuinely getting to know someone.
Well,
Yeah.
I knew a
probably
girl that
genuinely
used to
get to know
do like a
people.
dating blog, and she couldn't tell guys that she was dating, that she did a blog. She wrote it in an alias and everything. You know what I mean? Because she just
Oh,
couldn't.
that's interesting.
smart.
She just
Yeah, it
couldn't
is
do
smart.
you
I
know?
should do that. It's a little too late, but
But you know, I would be like, imagine going on a date with somebody, Chrissy, and you sit there and they say, "Hey, by the way, I'm going to be writing all about this." Like the last thing anybody wants to do is be publicly.
True.
I don't know. I
Spotlighted
wouldn't
for
want to
everything
be
you do wrong.
spotlighted for everything.
I know I've probably cut my pool down significantly.
What's
good, though.
been? I mean, there's probably some rewarding things that has happened by being a personal development and relationship coach. Is there a few things that you care to?
Yeah, I mean, I spoke on the TEDx stage. That was like one of my biggest professional accomplishments.
How was that?
The most incredible experience of my life.
Great video, by the way. Everyone should go check it out.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I applied 3 years in a row, didn't make it past the first round. And then I made it. And it was so cool. It was so cool. And then it like went viral, which was totally crazy. Like super unexpected, and that was kind of cool too, because I've worked so hard on so many other things that have gone nowhere. Still, even like the YouTube stuff that I do, like they don't get that many views. And so to see something that I did like actually get some substantial viewership and have people
I think
coming
it was a couple
to me.
million or something. Couple
Yeah,
million
yeah.
views.
A lot for me.
Yeah.
And so it was just really cool to see something go I don't know, go in a direction that actually like really, really reached people to help people. And I've gotten so many people emailing me and telling me how much it changed their life, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, it was really cool. And yeah, I mean, that's now everything that I do is based off of this like journey that has gotten me here. And it all gets bigger and bigger. And so of course there's been accomplishments and I'm super grateful for the whole falling on my face for however many years I've done that.
I don't think you can succeed if you don't fail first a couple of times, because you don't learn what to tweak and how to make things better and what to change.
Totally.
So
if somebody wanted to hire you to coach them, like say myself, I mean, how would you do it? Like, is there an application, phone call?
Yeah,
What's
we
the
do a
process?
phone call. I'm pretty selective with who I work with.
Really?
I really work with people who are generally more on the high achieving end, just because I don't like to work with people who are excuse driven or victim driven. Like I really want to work with people who are going to take responsibility and accountability for, you know, how their dating life has turned out, or, you know, where they are now.
Well, as a coach, there's only so much you can do. So if you worked with people who had the victim mentality, they would end up just blaming you, and you wouldn't be able to help them grow.
Which I'm sure has happened also.
Do you help people that aren't dating as well?
So it really spans. Like it's from personal development to relationships. Like I mean, I work with people who are in relationships. I'll work with one person or both people. And I'm not a therapist, you know, but it kind of spans.
But go to your website, probably be the best place to start.
Yeah,
to
totally.
check you out, see what you're about. I know it's a well done website. It kind of tells everything you need to know.
Yeah.
On the website.
It is a really nice website, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Did you design it or have somebody design
didn't.
it? Okay.
No.
Well, some people can just design their own
not
website.
Me. I'm not that person. Not one of those people.
Talk about Secret SLC.
Yeah.
That's coming up here.
Yeah. Super exciting.
Obviously, this episode will be up before that. So if people are listening before it happens, can they still buy tickets?
Yeah, and they're going to sell out. So buy tickets soon. And we're throwing an unbelievable New Year's Eve event. And I hesitate to even call it an event. It's like an experience that you walk into and you're in a different world. At least that's what we try to create. And I'm so proud of what we've done. It's unbelievable. I'm really excited.
How many years? You've been doing this for a handful of years.
Yeah, since 2014. And they started as really small events. I didn't know it was going to turn into a business. And it's like we've had so many people be interested in this. And it just kept growing and growing and growing because people came and loved it, told their friends. And it was like all of a sudden something that went from being so small, I would be at the bar and hear somebody talking about it. And I would be like, whoa, that's crazy. Like people know what this is, you know? So it was accidental, and now it's just grown to be something.
I mean, you say unlike anything else. I mean, give me a little bit more. I mean, there's got to be some more you could share.
Here's the thing. So you don't know where it is. The X factor is you don't know where it is. You don't really know what you're getting into either. So you know the basic theme. This theme is Mystere. It's a masked ball.
Is the theme different every year?
It's different every event. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we just did a Havana Nights event this summer. Last New Year's was Prohibition. We've done everything is totally different. So it's not like you would come to one Secret SLC and know what to expect for the next. You have no idea. So anyway, and what really sets these events apart is they're really experiential. So you don't know what's going to unfold during the night. Again, you don't know where it is. You don't know what you're walking into. All you know is it's a masked ball. You dress up.
Got to leave your mask on all night?
I don't know. Maybe not.
You don't know.
No, you don't know.
I love how secret you are.
Yeah.
Good. I would slip and give stuff away.
Yeah, you find out a little more on the website. Like we have Joshy Soul playing, and he's great.
He's a great musician.
Yeah, he's so fun. So it'll be a dance party. I mean, you know, it's a ball. So that's basically
drinking.
The drinking.
Have fun.
Fun.
Yeah, fun.
but then you don't know what else. And so I really pride Secret SLC on throwing the best.
Is it tough to do an event like this in Utah?
No.
Everybody
I mean, listen, it wouldn't be here today if it were. Like I am doing this because the demand has been insane. We crave experiences. Like we crave something. And listen, like in
Utah
the age,
or people?
People,
yeah.
And maybe Utah, because I mean, I believe we throw the best event in Utah by far. Like, I don't even think any other event. And I love and I'm not saying other events don't do a great job, but there's nothing like this.
Well, it seems like, I mean, there's so many options for New Year's Eve. And that's why it's like, okay, Secret SLC.
This is,
unlike anything else.
You can't compare it to any other party. You just can't. Like, I don't know how to describe it.
Sure.
You just can't.
And secretslc.com, right?
Yeah,
for the website.
Yep. And then secretnye.com for the.
And you can't say where it's at or anything like that, where you get like a secret email.
Guests don't even know until right before, right?
Yeah.
What? How do you even make plans for the night?
Mystery.
You know, it's in downtown Salt Lake. And awesome, this year, for the first year, we've partnered with Hotel Monaco. So they're giving our guests a really awesome rate. And we're doing something special for our guests that nobody knows about either, who are staying there. But anyway, so you can stay downtown also for an awesome rate. And
which is great, because after a long night of partying, you just need to go lay down somewhere.
Yeah. So really, you know, it's in downtown Salt Lake. That's what you know.
I get it.
But that's
secrets. I see how it is.
Yeah.
Let's kind of change. I want to find out a little bit more about Baya real fast here. Most memorable concert or sporting event?
Concert. That's a good one. Let me tell you. Snoop Dogg, 2005. I was 18 years old. I was obsessed with Snoop Dogg. In fact, my AIM handle, what was AIM handle was Snoop Lova 87.
We used to talk. I'm kidding.
That was you.
I'm kidding.
I'm pretty sure that was like my MySpace ever. Anyway, like I was obsessed with Snoop Dogg. So we go to this concert, and one of the radio stations, I think it was like U92, was putting on this booty shaking contest for front row tickets. And I had like nosebleeds, general admission, whatever. So I enter this booty shaking contest and I win.
So you got on the stage and did the booty shaking
contest,
Just
and I won.
Front row?
Yes. Turns out I have a knack for twerking before twerking was twerking. Before twerking had a name.
Was that here in Utah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I got front row tickets
for Snoop
because I won this booty shaking contest.
Did you get to meet Snoop?
No, I didn't.
Smoke some weed with Snoop?
Sure didn't. No. Front row is close, though.
If you could go back to your first day of high school, give yourself a piece of advice.
Don't wear those snake pleather pants.
Did you really? Did you really, Baya? Come on.
Yeah, snakeskin pleather. Ugh, yeah.
If you could learn one random skill, what would it be? Just a random skill. I'm sure you have a list of them. You seem like the type of person.
Yeah, acro yoga.
Acro yoga. What
is that the yoga in the, I don't want to say silks, but it's silk-like?
No, it's partner yoga.
What?
Yeah, that or like I'm into pole dancing and like pole fitness, I guess you should say, not stripping. But so I would be like really good at pole, like competitively. So those would be two.
Do you have a personal hero? If so, who?
Yeah. I mean, I love Brene Brown and her work, and she's on vulnerability and shame. And I just think she's brilliant, and I'm basically obsessed with her.
What app do you use on your phone the most?
Probably Instagram.
Really?
That's nothing
to be embarrassed about.
Probably Instagram or
Tinder.
Bumble now. Bumble for now.
You know, but I've heard Bumble came around after I left the dating scene.
Yeah.
That's like the women have to
Were you around for Tinder?
I was around for Tinder.
We met on Tinder.
That's how we more or less connected was Tinder. I mean, awesome. I knew of her comedy. I mean, we were Facebook friends for like 3 years prior.
Yeah.
With the podcast and stuff, connecting that way. But I was too intimidated to talk to her.
Oh, I love that.
And so we kept matching on Tinder, and then we finally, and then actually 2 years ago tonight, because tomorrow's my birthday, and I hung out with her the night of my birthday evening, and I didn't tonight 2 years ago.
The anniversary
of the first
of when we
official time of us hanging out, spending time together.
What'd you guys do?
Well, I was really drunk, and I
picked him up.
Picked him up from the beer bar because you were dealing cards.
I said,
do you want to go back to my house and dress up my cat? My apartment.
That's phenomenal.
Is that romance?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And I knew he wasn't a murderer, or at least I thought he wasn't.
Yeah, right. It's Chris, you know.
Yeah, Chris, the non-murderer.
So no, and I didn't tell every. And there was one friend that I said, hey, do you want to come have some, beers with me? It's my birthday tomorrow. I think it was like Saturday night or something like that. Because anyway, But I didn't want to, my goal was to spend some time with her because I knew I didn't want to wait till closer to Christmas.
I love that.
Because we kept talking and she was working like 2 jobs at the time and didn't have a lot of time.
Single mom, 2 jobs. I was kind of trying to blow them. I wasn't trying to blow
them. And you were like, well, I think I have some time next weekend. And I knew it was my birthday. I'm like, all right, well, okay. But I didn't tell you. When I told,
not going to cancel after my birthday.
No, she didn't know.
Oh. Yeah, that's right.
Happy birthday tomorrow.
Man.
How old are you going to be?
40.
40? This is a big birthday.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Well,
we're going to have cake and ice cream at home with the kids.
We have a newborn baby.
I know.
And I'm kind of trying to take a break from drinking. So I was like, I don't really want to go out and get all messed up, you know?
Okay.
Deal with a hangover and all that, you know? That. So, I don't know. I think we're going to get out on Friday.
Yeah, we'll get out on Friday.
But
we're being adulty this week.
Yeah, okay. I get it.
Let's talk about Salt Lake City. If somebody was visiting Salt Lake City for the weekend, right? Say this upcoming weekend even. What would you tell them to do or check out? They've never been here. I'm sure you got a few things you would tell.
I always tell people to do a tour of the temple with the missionaries.
What, just because you think it's fascinating?
Do you tell them how to escape after a tour of the temple?
No, I think that's one of the more interesting parts about that tour. Like, I remember the first time I did it, I was sat down by 2 sister missionaries who sang to me. And it was like, whoa, this is crazy. And I lived here. And it was like, it was just an experience. It's like, I think when you're not from Utah, it is an experience.
Remember when we took my brother and sister, they were visiting in town for our wedding, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And
they were just like, what?
It's crazy.
They weren't raised Mormon at all.
Yeah, when you don't know about the church, it's like a really interesting experience to walk. And right now, I mean, you get the lights too, so it's like
and if you can't make it to Utah, Kathleen Madigan has a great stand-up bit on visiting the Salt Lake Temple.
Oh, that's amazing!
It's so good.
That's amazing. Yeah, so that I would totally tell them to do that.
Anything else?
I am a personal fan of the Cliff Spa at Snowbird because of the view, and it's just so pretty. You're like on top, it's outside. You can go without getting a service done. You can pay like $20 to spend the whole day there, and you can go to the pool and the hot tub, and it's just so beautiful. You're in the mountains, it's outside, and then you can use the sauna and the steam room and like all the things, and it's awesome. I've spent many a day just not even getting services, just like paying $20 and going to relax.
I love it. That sounds good.
That sounds like
that's actually a really great idea for your birthday.
That's just what I was going to say. Can we do that for my birthday?
Oh my gosh.
It's so fun. And they just redid it. Apparently they just remodeled it. So yeah. And really it's like,
I didn't even know stuff like that existed.
That's what I'm telling you, girl.
I didn't know you could go into a spa without getting
that's the genius of this place. That is the genius of this place. And it's the nicest spa here. It's like, yeah.
What would you change about Salt Lake City if you could change something? Smog.
The air.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things about Secret SLC is we partner with nonprofits, local nonprofits. And this year we're partnering with Heal Utah, who is working to fight for our air quality.
But I mean, what could we really do, though, if you really think about it? Could we do a whole lot? I mean, I know that sounds
legislatively, maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's what they do. You know, like they work with the government. Hell yeah. And I don't have the answer.
It's tough because I want more people to come here, move here. But then at the same time, the more people that are here, the worse our air gets.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And I know. And then
even if they increase public transportation a little bit or something. Yeah. Which I guess they've done a great job of.
They need to have that, though, go after Last Call. Better with that. And I don't even know all of that. Favorite local eating spots? I'm sure you have a few that you love to eat.
Zest is one of my favorites.
Love Zest.
Mm-hmm. So
I used to live right over in those white apartments, La France.
Oh, yeah.
Right by Zest, so I would go over there and get takeout all the time.
Yeah. And Casey, the owner, is just like a staple of Salt Lake. I feel like, with the W Lounge, and he's just so great. So I love supporting him, and the food is just phenomenal. What is the place? Roots Cafe.
We just drove by that the other day, and I was like, Chrissy.
And we said we needed to go there.
No, I've been there.
Oh,
I was saying that you need to go there.
Really?
Best
Why is that?
Brunch. There is something called the pita. It's called pita. The pita. Something. Pito. Something like that. And it's, if you don't eat meat, it's like this veggie patty that's like with the bread, that's like ciabatta bread that's so good. Those are my faves.
Any other places? Just Roots, Zest?
Undercurrent for their fries.
Okay.
I always go to Undercurrent to eat their fries and drink their champagne. Yeah.
Man. I got to try their fries.
fries, French fries. Give me all the French fries and all the champagne together.
What do you want written on your tombstone when you die, Baya?
Here lies Baya, the 801 playa. Just kidding.
I love it. I love it. Anything else you want to ask her before we wrap this up with the web addresses and stuff like that, or anything that we didn't talk about, Baya, that you would want to make sure we talked about Secret SLC. Go to the website, check that out, get tickets while they're still available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I do have something.
Sure. What do you got?
So one of the projects I'm working on right now is, and you guys are the first to find this out, is I'm launching a podcast, but it's not like an interview-based podcast like this. It's more of a narrative-based podcast.
That's right. We were kind of exchanged a few messages. I said, well, you could do it. It's hard.
Yeah. And I've got some help now.
Awesome.
But one of the things that I'm looking for, so for any of your listeners, this is a super brave move. But I'm looking for people who have been in relationships, who have been the people who have cheated or lied or abused or manipulated. You know, kind of the other side.
I do have some numbers I can send your way.
Where do I sign up?
Kind of the other side of the story is what I'm looking for. And you will be totally anonymous and it's totally confidential. We'll change names and everything.
Pretty much anybody. It sounds like. I mean, it's everyone. I'm sure has been abused or cheated on.
But I want the people who have done the abuse.
Oh, okay. Well, then I raised my hand, not me.
Yeah. So I want the abusers. I want the cheaters.
That would be.
I want the manipulators.
So fascinating. The hardest part's going to be finding the people who are.
I don't think it'll be that hard.
It's not.
I don't think it'll be that hard.
I've had some super brave and incredible people come forward with their stories.
See, I would assume that most of them would be extreme narcissists.
Some
and
probably
possibly blind to their actions.
Maybe some are, but I think some are aware and are shifting their behaviors. And if you identify as a narcissist or a sociopath or anything, I want to talk to you too. So that said, I know it's a bold ask, but if you would be willing to chat with me, you can email me at info@bayavoce.com, and I would love to get your story out.
Is this going to be kind of like a series you're thinking? Like come out with a bunch at one time?
It's kind of in development right now, but I do want this side of the story. I think it's the side that's really not told. And if it is told, it's told from the quote unquote victim's perspective. And I just want to hear the other side.
Make sure I want to definitely listen and subscribe. I'm sure. Will you tell the world, or is it going to be a secret?
No, it'll be.
I was going to say, I definitely, and for listeners of I Am Salt Lake, keep your eyes out because I'll try to remember to reshare that.
Oh, awesome! Thank you.
With the I Am Salt Lake listeners, because obviously I'm a big fan of podcasts as it is, anyways. But it sounds,
and that sounds
I
like
love
something
shows
no one's
like
done
this. Before. A lot of work, but it definitely could be important to hear, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we're in a time in our world where we're looking for some deep healing in lots of different ways. My specialty is this area, so this is the one.
So they would go to the Baya Voce?
Yeah, or you can just email me at info@bayavoce.com.
And spell that for people that might be driving.
BAYAVOCE.com.
And if you didn't write that down, go to iamsaltlake.com with this episode where the links and everything to get in touch. And you're on Facebook.
Yeah, Instagram is probably where I spend most time. But yeah, you can find me probably Instagram, Baya_Voce.
And then it's secretslc.com. Go check that out.
For the New Year's Eve.
Or Secret NYE.
Well, but you can go to either place. But
and then we'll forward to either one. Any other websites you want to
No, that's it.
mention? Anything else you want to leave with the listeners? A piece of advice or anything?
Piece of advice.
I don't know. Motto. I don't know. Anything. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
What's
probably.
your personal mantra?
Yeah, what's your personal mantra, Baya?
I am a badass. I've got this. I'm a badass. I've got this.
I love it.
That's perfect.
Perfect place to end the podcast. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to finally have gotten you on the podcast.
Oh my goodness.
I know we've talked about it for a while.
This is so awesome.
I know. I can't lie. I was really excited.
Connecting with people like you have been what I love about doing this podcast, by the way. So
this is so amazing. I love what you guys are doing.
It's just kind of collecting the stories of people in Salt Lake. And, I think you're doing something unique and different.
Thank you.
So glad to spotlight you for a minute.
Shaking it up, man. Way to go.
Working on it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. All right. Many thanks again to Baya Voce for coming on this episode and sharing her story. Head on over to our website, iamsaltlake.com/309 for episode 309. This is where you can find all the links to connect with her. You could see all the projects that she has going on, and reach out to her and let her know that you heard her on this episode of the podcast.
And while you're there, you can even check out the back 308 episodes of I Am Salt Lake.
Check them out. Give them a listen. Share some of your favorite episodes with your family and friends or on your favorite social media platforms. And while you're there, subscribe.
Yeah. Keep getting to know the people in Salt Lake.
Let's talk about Skillshare, Skillshare.com. I found this website about a month or two ago. Fantastic resource, a fantastic way to become a better photographer, to become learn more about marketing.
And I love the name. It's sharing your skills.
Absolutely. So you're learning from experts in the industry. There's some courses and classes on there. Normally it's $10 to $15 a month. Okay. But because you're an I Am Salt Lake podcast listener, I set this up with them where you can get a month absolutely free just to check it out. See if you like it. It's unlimited access to over 17,000 classes. Like I said, everything from design to photography to marketing to technology. Head on over to iamsaltlake.com/skill. And this is going to give you all the information on signing up for your free month to learn from the experts on how to become an expert yourself in whatever you want to learn.
So if you're one of those people always bugging your friend who knows Photoshop, teach me Photoshop, you can stop bugging them.
Or
just
if
go to
you
Skillshare.
want to learn how to open up your own business, or if you want to learn how to master something like Twitter or Facebook or become a master podcaster, whatever, go to iamsaltlake.com/skill and get your free month right there. All right, let's talk about Jed's Barbershop. Jed's is a very, very proud sponsor of the podcast. They have 3 locations. So with 3 locations, you know that this means you can always look your best, okay? Go get a haircut, a beard trim, even a straight razor shave. Jed's Barbershop is open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday 9 to 7, and Sunday 12 to 5. They are located right at 167 East, 900 South. That's right next to Randy's Records. They also have a location right downtown at 212 South, 700 East, and up in Sugar House at 2153 East, 2100 South. No appointments necessary, which is great, especially with New Year's Day coming up, New Year's Eve. You want to look good.
Get a last-minute date, hop over to Jed's.
Oh, my gosh. How many times does that happen to me, Chrissy, where I'm like, I got to get a haircut for tomorrow?
Because something comes up.
Something comes up. Maybe somebody needs me to come and talk about something. Maybe I have a business meeting. I want to look good. I want my fade to look bomb. You can go and get a haircut. No appointments necessary. JedsBarbershop.com is where you can go and get more information. That's going to do it for this episode. Don't forget to go like our Facebook page. You can find that by going to iamsaltlake.com/Facebook. This is going to forward you to our Facebook page. Give it a like. Go give it some love. You guys have a great week. Get out and enjoy the city. Stay warm. Enjoy a mug of hot chocolate and happy holidays.
Good night, Grammy.